Hey, what's up? It's your girl Kiana Speaks, and welcome to Sis Playtime Over. For those who don't know me, I am a self-love certified life coach, and I love pouring into women. And today I have a very special guest today that I am super excited that we're honoring in Women's History Month, Mrs. Jacqueline Pelt, and she is the CEO and founder of JP Tax Services and Financial. So thank you for being on the show.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
I am super excited. So I wanted to get into this interview because you're all about finances, and I feel like this is the time that we need to talk about it. But before we get into that, I just want to ask you a couple of questions. And first, starting off about yourself. So tell us a little bit about Miss Jacqueline Pelt.
Okay, Miss Jacqueline Pelt runs her own tax business. I worked for the IRS for 34 years. I retired.
Wow.
In 2008, I retired, and I kept thinking to myself, what am I going to do? I'm still young. I didn't want to be a couch potato, so I had to find something else to do.
Right.
And I started out, the IRS has a program where low income and seniors can get their taxes done for free.
Wow.
So I started out volunteering for that.
Okay.
And then I moved on to find other locations where we could give that service for free. Me and a coworker from the IRS, churches, community centers, and we said we want to come in and do the taxes free. They were all for it. Give me the space, put it in your flyer if it was a church, and people would come and get it done free.
Wow.
So from there, individuals that came in that was over income and they couldn't qualify for the free,
Right.
I had to send them away, and I felt bad. You know, just because you $20 over the limit. So I said, well, you know what? I can do them my own.
Right. Oh, that was smart.
I would give them my number, say, you don't qualify for this service, give me a call.
Oh, that was really good.
Yeah. So I started my own business that way, helping people that, you know, just because on paper it says you make X amount of dollars and you can't get this service.
Right.
You still need it, or you wouldn't have never showed up.
Exactly. That was quick thinking.
Yeah, that's how I started, because so many of them couldn't qualify. And just a little bit over, you know, but the IRS didn't want us to bend the rules, because they can see the income that we put in for each individual.
Exactly.
So, and I didn't want to break their rules.
Right.
So I just took them on my own.
So how did you get into tax services? I know you said you were working with IRS, but what made you just get into that after
34 years working in, going to the different department, going to auditing, going to this, going to that? I saw that they treated us different. When you come in of a certain color, they were light on some, hard on others. And I just thought that was so unfair. So if they're going to give some of them a break, I want them to give all of them a break. So, you know, that's why I want to do my own service, so I can treat them well and kind, and give them the same service that the IRS gives to the other people.
Right.
So that's one reason I wanted to start my services. And it says JP Income Tax and Financial Services. So I didn't just do the taxes and send them packing.
Right.
If they had a balance due, I talked about that. Let's change this so next year you'll come in a better space. If the refund was too big, I talked about that. You shouldn't be letting the government hold your money all year, and then you got to pay somebody to do it to get it back. You can be investing that money yourself.
I love that.
So it was financial services that went along with it, is the reason so many people got the word and came to me. And if you meet them now, they'll tell you, I did what Miss Pelt told me to do, and I haven't owed since. Because they didn't know where to put the exemption at. They owe, you know, the kids grow up, they go away, you can't claim them no more. And you never adjusted it.
Exactly.
So that's the part that I put in there, besides just doing the taxes, the bottom line, and you go home.
Right.
So that helped me help them in a lot of ways that they weren't expecting when they came to me. You just, you know, like the places that do taxes, like assembly line.
Right.
Number 43, you next, do them, pay them, you out of here. You know, let's talk about this bottom line.
Exactly.
Is it too low? Is it too high?
So you were like a mentor, like a coach.
Right, exactly. And I hadn't planned it on being that way, but I wanted each person to be in a better position when they left me. Before they come back next year, do what I told you to do, and you're going to be better.
That's good.
And they would do it and come back shocked when I gave them the bottom line after you did what I told you to do. So that's the part that kept me in it because I'm helping people.
Absolutely, you are. And I'm so honored to honor you today for helping people.
Yeah. I mean, I gave them ideas that they never thought of. I said, well, if you own a home and you want to buy a new car,
right,
get a home equity line of credit because you can write that interest off.
See?
And buy your new car.
See?
So just those little bit of ideas here and there helped a lot of people. And it kept me going. Because each person that can put themselves in a better position financially, that's great.
Right.
And if they had that, keep going, do that now, we're going through some hard times. So you need all the help you can get.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So being an entrepreneur, what are some challenges that you faced or setbacks?
I only had one in the 17 years, and that's when the pandemic hit. Because I had a office in my home. So the people came. Right. I gave them appointments. They came in. But once the pandemic hit, that had to stop. So I had to think of another way to do business. And I did some research, and they had some tax software that your customer could just upload their documents, contactless. And then that way, when they upload the W-2 and 1099s and everything, I just get online and look at them, prepare the return, send it back to them, all through a portal.
Oh, that was good.
Right. See, because when I started the IRS, it was pencil and paper. It wasn't no software. Right. Calculator, your form, and your booklet. Wow. So that was the hard way.
Right.
So when the software came out for them to do it electronically, that made it a little easier. And if it wasn't for that, I would have had to stop during the pandemic.
Right.
But I didn't have to. I did my research, and I found another way to just communicate with them uploading documents. We can talk on the phone, we can text, but I never had to see anybody, being that, you know, the pandemic was a hard time.
That was good.
That's the only challenge in the 17 years that I've been in business that I've had.
Oh, I'd say that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we couldn't prevent that. We couldn't help it. We didn't start it.
Right.
So it was just put upon us.
Right. So what are some of your biggest, most accomplishments that you're proud of in your life?
I'm proud of everything in my life from the day I was born. Everybody else might not think that way, but, you know, I thank God for being born, my parents. Amen. And I'm proud of the fact that I feel like I made something of myself without a college degree.
That's good. Did you hear that, guys? Without a college degree.
Because when I was coming up through, they call it middle school now. In my day, they called it junior high school.
Okay, yeah.
And high school. I didn't have not one counselor to talk to me about going to college.
Really?
No mentors, nobody around me. So I was like, it must not be important.
Wow.
So I just went to work. Now, in school, the counselors might have looked at my grades and said, oh, you ain't going nowhere. Just wasn't. They didn't talk about it. We didn't have seminars. We didn't have an assembly or nothing to talk about college. When I was coming up, Hart Junior High School, Ballou Senior High School, nobody said anything about college. But it could have been me. They could have looked at my grades and said, you go over there and sit down.
But look at you now, though.
But getting that job at the IRS, and when I first started working with the IRS, I actually lived in Chicago. I didn't even live in the DMV.
Wow. Okay.
So when me and my husband and kids moved to Chicago, I said, let me go downtown and try to find me a job. And the IRS was hiring. It was pouring raining that day. I'd never forget it. And I was hired.
Wow.
And then when I moved back to the DMV, I just transferred.
That's good. I didn't know that.
No. So like I said, no college. Now, when I went up for another position at the IRS, they said you have to have accounting credits. I didn't have any. But they paid for me to go to PG Community College and get the accounting credits.
So it just worked itself out.
It worked itself out. So that's all I needed to get to the next level, those accounting credits. So basically, after that, I feel like I was self-taught. Because they give you a book, sit down, read it, and answer these questions.
Right.
And I'm actually passing that on to my daughter. I've taught her the ropes for doing taxes.
Generational wealth.
Yeah. So once I retire, which I'm looking at that after 17 years on my own and 34 years with the government, I'm looking second retirement in the eye.
Wow.
But my business won't close because I'm going to pass it on to my daughter.
Absolutely.
I've taught her.
That's dope.
Yeah. So she can continue. She could teach her daughter, you know, just keep it going.
Right. Okay. You seem like you have a lot to be proud of.
Oh, I certainly do.
So, we got to talk about it. What are some of your fears or challenges? Just being a woman, just doing this business and entrepreneur thing, and, just helping people. What challenges, because you can't help everybody. So what challenges have you faced in your life, or what's your fears?
I honestly can say I didn't have any fears.
That's good.
And I'm going to back up a little bit, and maybe because my husband was always supportive of me.
That's good.
And August the 25th, we'll be married 49 years.
Wow.
So he's always been there by my side.
That is so good.
To encourage me, to help keep me going. And the challenges would be, you get a few people that come to you every year and say, well, I can't pay you. Can you wait till I get my tax return back? And you say, okay, I'm going to help a sister out. And you never hear from them again. Or they'll come back next year with an excuse. Say, can you help me again? So some people want to use you because you're kind. But I can wean them out.
So I got wisdom.
Yeah, I can wean them out quickly. But they'll try it.
Right.
And, if you feel good once you went home and say, I got her service and I didn't pay her. Oh, if that makes you feel good, okay. But I'm not going to miss a meal.
Absolutely.
So that didn't bother me. But once you know the kind, you just kind of, I'm booked. Don't even give them an appointment.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So speaking of that, what does self-care mean to you? I know in this lifetime today, you being an entrepreneur, how do you take care of Miss Jacqueline?
I have a personal trainer. I go to the gym.
Oh, that's awesome.
And before the personal trainer in the gym, I would just plug up my music, go to the mall and walk.
That's awesome.
That really put me in a space where it was peace. Just walk the mall.
Just walk the mall.
And that was free. But as you grow and grow,
right.
Now I incorporated the gym and the personal trainer.
That's awesome.
So that keeps me going. Stress-free, no worries. While you're in that space.
Right.
It helps me.
So you're saying exercising is how you take care of yourself.
And of course, at my age now, you have to eat right.
That part. Yeah.
So those things together will help you be a whole person.
Absolutely. Yeah. Eating right, exercising.
Drink your water. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Exactly. So you are a woman, and again, this is Women's History Month. And when you are stressed, we all have stress, and I know you work out and you're eating right, but how do you get away from all the noise? How do you cope with life when it hits, Well,
I don't have much noise. Because if you take it back in high school, I remember there was always fights, and the crowd would run down the hill to see who fighting. You just want to see,
right?
And it would always be friends. And I said, well, they fighting and they were best friends,
right?
And from high school, I said, you know what? I don't want friends. I don't have friends.
Wow, that's deep.
I have one person that I still communicate with that we went to junior high school. And I have a colleague that worked with me at the IRS that we correspond on IRS issues. Other than that, it's my family. I don't have friends.
So you're big on family.
I'm big on family. But after it got in my mind that all friends do was fight.
Right. Yeah.
In school.
Yeah.
I said, that I don't need.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's real. That's real.
And I never had friends.
Never had friends.
Just my family. And family, you got all kinds.
Yeah, that's true.
So whatever kind you're looking for, you could go to the family and pick it out.
That's facts.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You're big on family. So you're saying, okay, I use my family for that support. I don't have a lot of friends.
Right. And no friends.
No friends.
Well, one.
Yeah. One. Okay. So you're big on finances, of course. How important is finances to women in today's time?
Some take it seriously and some don't.
Well, let's talk about it.
Well, some wants to feel important or like they have made it if they have a $2,000 purse, but you ain't got nothing put in it. So it depends on their mindset.
So you can have a Chanel bag or a Louis Vuitton bag.
And don't have a dime.
Don't have a dime in the account.
But that's not important to them. They just want to rock that bag.
So if you were their coach financially, what would you tell them to get some money in their account?
I would tell them to keep it real and stop just trying to show off.
Right.
Because if you're single and you're looking for a man, that person ain't going to get it. It's not.
It's not going to get it.
No, because he could think two things. She's trying to show off because she got the latest purse, or she's telling me this is what I got to keep up with if I get with her.
Oh, that's good. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing.
Right.
So they just need to be themselves. If you can't be yourself and have peace in your space, see, some of them got too many women yakking in their face, girl, you should do this, girl, you should do that.
Right.
But you got to have your own peace, your own circle, and don't try to be impressive to the next woman.
Right. No competition.
No. Those are the kind of friends you don't need if they're friends.
Right. Exactly.
Be yourself. What do you want out of life? Determines how you handle your finances. So if you don't want nothing, then keep going to get the bags. You know what I'm saying?
So if she says, I do want something, but I don't know where to start, what would you tell her?
I would tell her, first of all, look at your credit. Because nowadays, there's nothing you can do and your credit ain't right.
You hear that? You have to have good credit.
Yeah, look at your credit. If you're not responsible enough to pay your bills on time, you ain't going nowhere.
That's it.
Even to rent an apartment.
That's big.
Let alone move up to be a homeowner.
Right.
That's step number one.
Right.
And a lot of women can keep their credit up, but they're too busy running after the latest designer bag or shoes or whatever.
Right.
That seems to be more important to them.
Right.
So if you don't have the right mindset, you ain't going nowhere.
Right. That's good. That's good. How do you think we got there as a culture?
I got there because I was raised poor. I didn't have anything.
Right.
But then I was under control of my mother.
Right.
When you get 18 and you're not under the control of your mother, then you spring off and do what you see best.
Right.
And what I saw best was I didn't want to be like her. And that motivated me. See, I watched my mother grow up raising the kids. She didn't have much, so that we suffered because of that. I didn't want that for my children. I didn't want that for my life. So that was my motivation. Get up and do something other than what you're doing.
Right.
Because I wanted to be a better person than she was. Don't get me wrong, I love my mother, but I wanted to be better than her. And I knew I had to do something different, which nobody taught me. The school didn't tell me I needed to go to college. Your mother didn't tell you need to go to college. So I had to think for myself. You got to think of something. You got to get up and do something.
Right.
If you want something out of life. And I knew I wanted to own home. I knew I wanted to be able to send my children to college. And I knew I just couldn't get that not doing anything or doing what my mother did.
Right.
So that was my motivation to move and do something different.
Okay, so you would tell her to, one, make sure she wants it, keep it real.
You have to have a passion for what you do.
Have a passion, okay.
If you don't have a passion and you're just doing it because you think it's going to make you money,
right,
it's not going to work. I love what I do.
That's good.
Yeah, that's the passion. To see another person leave out after seeing me and have some new ideas, some new thoughts, got a roadmap to financial stability. So if you don't have that passion, then it won't work. So find something that you like to do.
Right.
And then you can move forward with that, do all your research. And there'll be good times, there'll be bad times, but you got to roll with them all.
Got to roll with them all.
Yeah, and don't give up.
Don't give up.
And if I think about giving up, I focus back on my mother. And there's my motivation. You ain't going to do what she did, so keep moving.
So I say she was a great teacher to you.
She taught me without opening her mouth. Just looking at her life.
I love it.
I didn't have to say anything. She didn't say anything. I just said, don't want to be like her. And that kept me going. Moving, going to the next level, thinking of something else I can do. And I said, well, all 34 years with the IRS, they've taught me well. Why wouldn't I use that?
Exactly.
There was no tuition there to learn that. They've given it to me free.
Wow.
So I've been crazy not to use those skills.
So the motivation, ambitions came from somewhere.
My mother.
Yeah, so that's what I said. She taught you well.
She taught me well without opening her mouth.
Absolutely.
Just watching her having a hard time feed her children and clothing her children. And I just kept looking at her and say, I want my life to be better. And that's what made me strive to do better. So when you have a mother that can't do anything for you, then I'm thinking one day I'm going to be a mother. Do I want to be like her and can't do anything for my children? So I got up and made something else happen. And it worked.
So if she has a spending habit, let's say, and she comes to you and she says, I want to, stop buying bags and stop putting money into what I look like versus my investment in my life and my future, what are some money saving tips that you can give people?
Well, first I tell them, look over your budget if you have one. If not, you need to make one.
So you said budget is very important.
Budget is very important, so you know where every penny is going. Do you need all these channels on your cable? So you can cut corners.
Right.
Just try to first generate some extra income.
Right.
Daycare. Can you get a family member? Because daycare is very expensive.
Right.
So I will sit down with them with a budget, and the ones that I've sat down with didn't have a budget.
Wow.
So to me, you're running reckless. Yeah.
Wow. So the budget's like the gatekeep.
The budget is telling you where you're going.
I know that's right.
Because if you can't budget, you ain't getting nowhere.
That's good. I don't think people really understand how important a budget is.
Yeah.
You eat out all the time, and that stuff adds up.
Yeah. And you don't ever sit down to add it up, so you don't know where you are in that category. Half of your money could be eaten out.
That's true.
And then I'm not going to say you can never eat out, but then you have to start saying, well, let me cook 4 days a week. Maybe I'll eat out one.
Right.
So you start something small. I understand you can't be drastic.
Right.
It's like taking baby steps.
Right. That's good.
That would be my first advice to having them budget.
Right. Pace yourself.
Right.
Right.
Go slow. You got 10 pair of shoes? Wear them out before you go get the next pair. Okay? And you have to be willing to do this.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what I say. Can you do it?
Right. No, that's really good. So pace yourself. Embrace the small wins.
Yeah.
Right.
Just go small. But you have your basic needs. Then you have to put your wants to the side. Because all that extra spending is just a want. It's not a need. You're not barefoot.
Right.
You don't have to have the Jordans. You don't have to have that. You got something. I don't care if they were from Walmart. Your feet covered.
Right.
It's a sacrifice. Do you want to make that sacrifice to make a change, to get where you want to go?
Right.
If you don't learn to make that sacrifice in your personal life, what if you're in a business and you have to make that sacrifice? You gonna let the business fail because you don't want to sacrifice?
Right. I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think people need to start thinking about that and planning for their future, even in death.
Yeah, you got to go all the way up to the day you're leaving here.
Right.
And that's so when I close my eyes, my family don't have to put up a GoFundMe.
About that, yeah.
Or your children.
Yeah. No, that's real.
I see a 10-year-old get hit by a car, but he got on some $200 Jordans. Now his mother needed to put up a GoFundMe to bury him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No.
And that kid, young like that, a small policy wouldn't have been that much.
Right.
But she didn't never look into that, obviously.
Right.
But she satisfied his need that he wanted some $200 tennis shoes.
Do you think it's because we're not educated? Well, people are not educated on that?
Well, I wouldn't say that, because if you go back to our ancestors, mother, grandmother on down, they had insurance policy. The insurance man would come to the door and knock and get the payment. So they did believe in that.
Gotcha.
Even though you could be buried on the family land if they had any.
Right.
But they had insurance. It wasn't that much. And I remember back in the day, the insurance man would come knock on your door.
Wow.
Now, you could just click a button online and pay your insurance.
So this is some good things that people need to know. And if people want to get more information on this, you are open for service, so they can come.
Of course. If they're ready to hear my mouth, so to speak.
But you're helping people.
Right. If they take the help and accept it. So I could sit here and talk all day long, but you go out that door and go down the street and buy your Gucci bag. And I just told you the budget. So you got to receive what somebody's giving you.
Right.
So don't waste my time if you're not ready.
Right.
And a lot of women aren't ready. But when they get ready, they'll know where to come.
So why do you think a lot of women aren't ready to be financially
Because they don't want to give up the lifestyle that they have.
Okay.
I got to get my Gucci bag. I got to get my shoes. I got to get this. I'm going to the club next week. They're not ready to give that up.
Right.
Especially if they're single, because they think, well, if I stop doing that, I might miss on the man of my dreams. Is he looking for you in that position? No.
That is true.
Yeah, you got a man that's all together, handle his finances, credit is good. He ain't looking for you and you reckless.
He is not looking for you with the Gucci bag and the Chanel.
And then you meet with him, you sit down and talk, and he understands what you're going through. Your credit ain't good enough. He gonna wean his way. Oh, well, I'm busy tomorrow.
Yeah.
He gonna wean his way out of that, because that ain't what he looking for. He wants somebody to bring something to the table.
Facts.
Besides a designer bag.
Facts.
So you have to be mentally ready to make that change if that's where you are in your life. Because if not, you're wasting whoever he is time, my time.
Right. So
you come back to me next year, you haven't made any progress. I'm wasting my time. But you heard what I said. It's in your head.
It's in your head.
You just can't break away from the habit that you probably had for so long.
Got you.
And that's not easy. I understand that. So then I'll have them take baby steps.
Baby steps. So is that like $10 every pay period, $20?
Well, if you're not strong enough, I say get it deducted out your pay. Because some of them you can't depend on to actually go to the bank and put it in a savings account.
Right.
Just have it come out. You don't see it.
Right. That's good. So you say like $20, $25?
I would start with $25. I'll never do nothing under $25 because you eat out and spend more than that.
Right. That's true. That's true.
So yeah, you gotta. Everybody's not in the same place when it comes to making that sacrifice. I could tell you put $25 in the bank. I could tell somebody else to put $25. One of y'all gonna do it, one of y'all not. Because one of them gonna say, "Well, I gotta get my braids and they $350. I gotta get my purse because we're going out Saturday night," and they're not gonna do it because they feel they may run short on the luxury of life that they're trying to keep up.
Wow. I just really want to applaud you for what you do because I think dealing with finances and making sure people are together with their taxes is phenomenal. I think as a culture, we have to educate ourselves more. We have to do more. We have to be better, especially with money. So I just want to honor you for that because I hear great things about you. You're a great teacher when it comes to finances. And it's important that I want women to understand the importance of having their own because no one is coming to save them, especially the single women. No one is coming. People are waiting for this man to come and pay all the bills and save the day. But I want to talk about that. No one is coming to save you. You should be financially stable and be able to take care of yourself independently.
Because when you do meet that guy, he wants you to be together.
Exactly. Right. So let's talk about what together is because they're together, as you put it. It's not the designer bags. It's not what you look like, on the outer appearance. It's basically if you can handle your business.
Exactly. He may want to know if you have a 401k.
That part.
A lot of people don't have no plans for retirement. Don't have a retirement account, not putting any money in it because a lot of women, they are self-employed themselves. The hairdressers.
Absolutely.
The nail shop.
Absolutely.
It's paycheck to paycheck. What are you going to do when you get 60 and 70 years old? You haven't put nothing. Well, I don't have nothing to put away this week. I'll try next week because I got to do this. I got to do that. But the things that they say they have to do, they don't really have to. You need to go down to the bare necessities to be able to put something away for your future. Some people just live for today.
Yeah.
You don't think about your future.
Right. It's coming.
Until it hits you.
Right.
Exactly. And if you're young and you have that mindset that I'm going to get old one day, hopefully,
right.
and I need to start planning for that. It's just like everything in life, you have to plan for it.
Right.
Your mother had to plan when you were born.
Right.
Then when you get in this world, you got to make plans for your life, what you want. Now, you may not want nothing, then I'm cool with that. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you want something, you're going to have to change. If you want it that bad.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this question. This is personal for you. What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
I would tell my 20-year-old self, instead of me being a single owner of my business, I probably would have partnered with someone else, which I did have that offer, but I didn't take it.
Okay.
I probably would have partnered with somebody else and maybe come out of the home-based business and have brick and mortar. But at a young age, I said, well, do I want somebody else controlling what I do?
Right.
Controlling my money? Because when you partner with somebody, you got to take their views, their ideas too. And maybe you could say I'm selfish, but I didn't want that.
I mean, that's what you decided at the time that was best for you.
Right. I wanted to be in control of everything I did.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
I didn't want nobody else to be involved in that because they might not like some things I wanted to implement.
Right. No, that's real.
So I just stayed on my own. Let me control everything. Like Oprah said, write your own checks.
How does it feel writing your own checks, by the way?
Great. Trust me.
I think that's really good, and I'm glad that you are helping women get their finances together. Not just women, men as well.
Exactly.
Get their finances together because you can't do anything if you're financially handicapped.
Exactly. No one, man or woman. Financial handicap, and don't keep that credit. If you don't have good credit, a car salesman's going to sell you a car. But some of them don't even look at the interest rate.
Right.
What are you paying?
Like that part.
They got that car. They want to impress the women of the night.
That part.
And you paying something more than your rent.
That part.
Or you take a nice car and put it in the neighborhood, you got to look out the window all night. Make sure nobody bothering you. I see that a lot.
Repo man.
Yeah. No, the neighborhood.
Oh.
Is somebody stealing it?
Oh.
Is somebody taking my rims?
Oh, so they got the car, but they live in the neighborhood.
Yeah, they in the hood in an apartment somewhere. Where you could have let the car wait, got a hoopty, and work towards your home.
That part.
Then you can put your car in the garage. See, they do it backwards. Some of them, because they want to impress a woman. So you can ride around all day and feed her, and then you got to go home and almost lock everything down on your car.
That's true.
Lock the wheels down, lock the steering wheel down, because you're in a neighborhood that you might wake up in the morning, it's gone.
Yeah, it's a mindset, definitely.
Because you hustle backwards. Get the safe haven for your car. Get a nice home, townhouse, anything.
Right.
Put your car in the garage. But they just don't do it in that order.
Got you. Maybe they don't know.
Exactly. Because they don't know that debt from that car could help them, hurt them for qualifying for the house they want.
That's true.
Where you could have waited to get your house, and then, so you perish for lack of knowledge.
And that's why I have you on the show, to give women this knowledge.
Men too.
Men too, yes. On being financially responsible, because they may have never heard what you're saying before.
Right. But if they come around me, they're going to hear it. And even the men can be, sometimes they need just as much help as a woman.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
I said, how many babies you got? Okay, first of all, this needs to stop. Cause you crying because you're divvying up your money all over town.
That part.
Because then you're not responsible.
That part.
And a lot of times you have 3 and 4 kids all over different places. You can't give them what they need.
Right.
Physically, financially, emotionally, everything. You can visit them 2 days a week. You don't come back the next month.
That part.
Yeah, I know how that is being raised like that. I ain't even get to 2 days a month. I ain't get nothing.
So this is some good
and that
feedback.
Impacts a child, whether they know it or not. Especially a woman.
Yeah.
You grew up without a dad.
Yeah.
That's hard. But in my neighborhood, it wasn't hard for me because ain't nobody in the neighborhood had a dad.
Facts.
You know, so I wasn't on the block where Susie and her dad went to dinner.
Right, you didn't feel like an outcast.
Yeah,
right.
I didn't feel like that at all because where I lived, we know the men was coming around because the babies were still coming.
That part.
But I never saw a daughter-father relationship in my neighborhood growing up.
But look at God, you got one. You have a family.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's good. And you turned out well. You financially savvy.
If that's what you want to call it. I'm still striving to do things because I want to leave a legacy for my children and my grandchildren.
I love that legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to talk about that more in our culture, leaving behind legacies.
Yeah.
Generational wealth.
Exactly.
Not debt.
Right.
Right.
That's why I tell people, don't leave your children your house. A lot of people say, oh, I never thought of that. When you purchased the house, you should have thought of that.
That part.
Yeah. So it's things you need to do. And it's like, oh, that costs too much. Get a trust. That costs too much. Well, if you want to leave the house, they got to get an attorney. They got to go to court. The attorney see the house has some equity in it. He going to drag it up so he can eat it all up in his bill.
That part.
So what did you leave your children?
Nothing.
A headache.
Yeah.
Trying to get something out of it.
Right. So get a trust.
Yeah, your house should be in a trust.
Get a trust.
You don't own the house. The trust owns it.
Right.
And I didn't know that when I was younger.
Right. So hopefully they come to you and get all of this information and all this knowledge.
Well, or they can research it.
Or they can research
a trust. What is it about? How much is it going to cost me? How is it helping me? If I don't have a trust, what do my children have to do? They got to probate.
And those probate fees or something.
They eat up the equity in the house.
Yeah.
So you just left your house to the courts.
That part, yeah.
And you can look this up. Nobody told me that. I researched.
So if you have a home, put your home in a trust.
Right, don't own it. Put it in a trust. Because when you pass away and you have a home, every creditor can come after that.
Exactly.
But not for the trust because you don't own the trust.
Exactly.
And I just heard that one day and I said, well, let me look up trust and see what it's about. And that's what I learned.
I love it. Okay. So I want you, with all the experience, all the knowledge that you have over the years, I want you to look into that camera right here, and I want you to tell a woman that may not be doing well financially, credit may not be good, any words of encouragement, anything you want to say to her?
Well, I want to tell her, if she wants to do better in her life, if she wants something that she wants to achieve, she has to first start with the finances. The finances has to be in order. Your credit have to be in order. You can do your research on if you want to do your own business or whatever it is, but there's a day you have to sit down and say, I'm starting today to take control of my life and try to achieve what I want. That's what they have to do. Start today. What do you want?
Beautifully said. And I thank you so much for tuning in today.
Oh, well, you're very welcome.
It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you. And for those who've just tuned in, thank you so much. And until next time, playtime over. Peace.